Cabinet gives final approval to the draft of Enforced Disappearance Prevention and Remedy Act 2026. Solar panels to be gradually installed in important government buildings across the country to address energy crisis and accelerating use of renewable energy, says Prime Minister Tariq Rahman. Prime Minister calls for developing countries' economic zones as green, modern and investment-friendly industrial hubs, ensuring industrialization and ecological balance. Awami League has no strength to carry out sabotage centering August 5, even though it sometimes carries out provocative activities from abroad, says Home Minister. Law enforcement agencies to investigate recent clashes impartially and take action, says LGRD Minister. Tendency working to artificially take politics out of Parliament again, says Information and Broadcasting Minister. Peace talks between Iran and US is starting, claims Donald Trump. Iran denies. And Bangladesh cricket team now in Darwin of Australia to play two-match test series. Assalamu alaikum viewers, this is News at 10 on BTV News. I am Imtiaz Ahmed Siddiqui. You just heard the highlights. Let's move on to the details of those and other stories. Cabinet has given approval to the draft of Forced Disappearance Prevention and Remedy Act 2026. The approval was given this evening at 15th meeting of Cabinet at Cabinet Division Meeting Room at the Secretariat. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman presided over the meeting while Cabinet members, secretaries concerned and senior officials were present. At the meeting, forced disappearance has been termed in the Forced Disappearance Prevention and Remedy Act 2026 as an independent, unbailable and cognizable criminal offence to establish human rights, human dignity and personal freedom. The Act will ensure a legal coordinated structure for prevention of forced disappearance, trial of the persons involved in forced disappearance, finding out the disappeared people, and ensure compensation and rehabilitation for the victims and their family members. Besides, the Act included measures to issue search warrant to rescue forced disappearance persons, acceptance of digital testimony and maintain security of the witness and victims. Besides, the Act has included rights of the victims to know progress of the investigation, location of the victims and their consequences. The Act will ensure government legal assistance, treatment, rehabilitation and compensation fund and compensate the victims from the property of the convicted persons. Besides, the Act has provision to use convicted person property to ensure livelihood and other expenditure of the wives and other members of the family, issuing disappearance certificate in every 5 years interval to property distribution. The Act has included provision to complete investigation works within 120 days and trial works within 120 days. The Act has provision to award life-term imprisonment and financial penalty for the convicted in forced disappearance case. Besides, the draft of the Transfer of Property Amendment Act 2026 got final approval in the principle at the Cabinet meeting today. The Cabinet has also approved proposal to cancel price list of medicine 2026 and price fixing system 2026. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman directed the authorities concerned to install solar panels in phases at key government buildings across the country as part of government's efforts to address the ongoing energy crisis and accelerating the use of renewable energy. The Prime Minister gave the directives while presiding over a meeting on solar power at his office in the Cabinet Division in Bangladesh Secretariat today. The Prime Minister said the government's support for the import of raw materials required for domestic solar inverter manufacture. The Prime Minister also directed the authorities concerned to formulate a viable economic model to make solar power affordable, accessible and financially attractive for the general public. The meeting decided to launch the initiative by installing solar panels in phases at Bongo Bhavan, the Prime Minister's office at Tejgaon, the Jatiya Sangshad Bhavan, the Prime Minister's office and the Ministry of Finance buildings at the Bangladesh Secretariat, the Planning Commission building and other key government establishments. The Prime Minister said wider use of solar power in government buildings would encourage people to adopt the technology. That is why he instructed the authorities to install solar panels at various public establishments. The meeting also stressed the need for widely promote the economic and practical benefits of solar power to encourage greater public adoption of the technology. Finance and Planning Minister Amir Khosrow Mahmood Chaudhry, Prime Minister's Advisor on Finance and Planning Rashid Al Mahmood Titumir, State Minister for LGR and Cooperatives Mir Shahi Alam, BIDA Executive Chairman Chaudhry Ashik Mahmood bin Harun, National Board of Revenue NBR Acting Chairman Ahsan Habib, Pran Arafil Group Chairman Ahsan Khan Chaudhry, Walton Group Managing Director SM Mahbubul Alam and secretaries and the senior officials of different ministries attended the meeting. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman has emphasized the importance of transforming Bangladesh's economic zones into green, modern and investment-friendly industrial hubs by ensuring a balance between industrialization and environmental protection. He made the call while presiding over a meeting of governing body of Bangladesh Economic Zones Authority BEZA at Prime Minister's office in the Cabinet Division of Bangladesh Secretariat today. The governing board of BEZA made several important decisions aimed at expanding the country's economic zones, increasing investment, creating employment opportunities and protecting the environment. As part of the government's nationwide 25 crore tree plantation program, trees will be planted in every export processing zones (EPZs) across the country. Under this initiative, a total of 1,25,000 trees will be planted in various EPZs. The meeting examined the possibility of utilizing the land and existing infrastructure of Karim Jute Mills and Latif Bhavani Jute Mills Limited at Narayanganj for economic activities. Finance Minister Amir Khosrow Mahmood Chaudhry, Industries and Textiles and Jute Minister Khondokar Abdul Muqtadir, Environment, Forest and Climate Change Minister Abdul Awal Mintu, Rail Transport and Bridges Minister Shakil Rabiul Alam, Labour and Employment Minister Ariful Haq Chaudhry and Bangladesh Investment Development Authority BIDA Executive Chairman Chaudhry Ashik Mahmood bin Harun attended the meeting. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman invited President of the South Korea to visit Bangladesh at a convenient time as the two countries explore ways to further strengthen bilateral trade and investment cooperation. He made the invitation during his meeting with South Korean Trade Minister Yo Hong-kyu at the Cabinet Division of Bangladesh Secretariat this afternoon. At the outset of the meeting, the South Korean Trade Minister briefed the Prime Minister on the proposed comprehensive economic partnership between SIPA between Bangladesh and South Korea. He said the agreement, once signed and implemented, would further expand bilateral trade and economic cooperation between the two countries while significantly increasing South Korean investment in Bangladesh. The Trade Minister said many South Korean companies are already operating successfully in Bangladesh and many more are interested in investing in the country in the coming years. Welcoming greater South Korean investment, Prime Minister Tariq Rahman invited the South Korean entrepreneurs to invest in Bangladesh's toy, electronics, telecommunications, automobile, semiconductor and shipbuilding sectors. The Prime Minister said South Korea has advanced expertise in the shipbuilding industry while Bangladesh possesses a promising workforce for that sector. He said South Korea could establish training centers in Bangladesh to provide technical and language training to Bangladeshi workers for employment in the South Korean shipbuilding sector. He also assured that the Bangladesh government would extend necessary support if South Korean companies invest in the country's shipbuilding industry. Yo Han-kyu said the proposals put forward by Bangladesh would further strengthen future relations between the two friendly countries. Commerce Minister Khondogar Abdul Muqtadir, Prime Minister's Advisor on Finance and Planning Rashid Al Mahmood Titumir, Prime Minister's Advisor on Foreign Affairs Humayun Kabir and Bangladesh Investment Development Authority BIDA Executive Chairman Chaudhry Ashik Mahmood bin Harun, among others, were present at the meeting. U.S. President Donald Trump's special envoy Sergio Gore has expressed the United States' confidence in the leadership of Prime Minister Tariq Rahman. Home Minister Salahuddin Ahmed made the remarks while responding to questions from journalists at the Secretariat today. He said that although the Awami League occasionally engages in provocative activities from abroad, the party does not have the capacity to carry out acts of sabotage surrounding August 5. The minister also said that Bangladeshi lawyers appointed in Dubai are working to have this bail granted for former Inspector General of Police Benazir Ahmed revoked. Urging the public not to panic over the recent recovery of bomb-like objects in different parts of the country, Salahuddin Ahmed said authorities are investigating whether there is any specific motive behind the incidents. He added that law enforcement agencies remain on high alert to ensure that no extremist organization is able to re-emerge. Australia has announced an additional 25.25 million Australian dollar in humanitarian assistance through UNHCR to support life-saving aid and protection services for Rohingya refugees and host communities in Bangladesh. An agreement to this effect was signed this morning at the State Guest House Padma by Australian High Commissioner Susan Ryle and UNHCR Acting Country Representative Juliet Murkiesoni. Foreign Minister Dr. Khalilur Rahman and Australia's Assistant Minister for Citizenship, Customs and Multicultural Affairs and Assistant Minister for International Education, Julian Hill MP, witnessed the signing ceremony. The contribution is part of Australia's new 3-year $370 million Australian dollar humanitarian assistance package to address the ongoing crisis in Myanmar and Bangladesh. Since the beginning of the Rohingya refugee crisis in 2017, Australia has committed over 1.26 billion Australian dollar in humanitarian assistance to the response. Prior to the signing ceremony, Foreign Minister Dr. Khalil Rahman held a bilateral meeting with Assistant Minister Julian Hill. During the meeting, the Australian minister commended the growing Bangladeshi community in Australia for its valuable contributions to the country's economy and multicultural society. Foreign Minister Dr. Khalil Rahman highlighted the importance of expanding regular migration opportunities for Bangladeshi nationals to Australia. He sought Australia's continued cooperation in combating irregular migration and human trafficking. The two ministers also underscored the importance of strengthening collaboration between Australian and Bangladeshi universities through joint academic programs and institutional partnerships. Earlier in the day, Assistant Minister Hill met State Minister for Foreign Affairs Shama Obaid Islam. Their discussions covered cooperation in regular and irregular migration, skills development, higher education, energy and women's empowerment. The State Minister sought more opportunities for Bangladeshi students to pursue higher education in Australia. Assistant Minister Hill is on a 2-day official visit to Bangladesh. During the visit, he also met Home Minister Salahuddin Ahmed, Education Minister A&M Ehsanul Haq Milon and Education Advisor Mahdi Amin. BNP Secretary General and LGRD Minister Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir has said that law enforcement agencies will conduct an impartial investigation into the recent incidents of violence reported in several places and take appropriate legal action. He made the remarks while addressing a discussion at the National Press Club this morning. The discussion was organized by Bangladesh Federal Union of Journalists (PFUJ) and Dhaka Union of Journalists (DUJ) to mark the second anniversary of July mass uprising. Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir said that a false narrative is being spread, claiming that the BNP is not implementing the July Charter. He also alleged that the leaders of the opposition is echoing the rhetoric of fugitive former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Speaking at the same event, Information and Broadcasting Minister Zahiruddin Shapon said the government would continue its efforts until the very end to keep all democratic forces united in ensuring good governance. He warned that if anyone engages in conspiratorial activities or crosses acceptable limits, appropriate action will be taken. Zahiruddin Shapon added that despite the tremendous sacrifices made, the nation has yet to fully learn the lessons of those events. He also said there are ongoing attempts to once again push politics outside the parliamentary framework through artificial means. The Prime Minister's Gold Cup 2026 competition is set to begin nationwide. The announcement was made this morning by Education Minister A.N.M. Ehsanul Haq Milon during a discussion meeting held at the Ministry of Education. The Education Minister said the tournament will be held in different categories, covering a total of 49,589 educational institutions across the country. He noted that the competition will play an important role in promoting both the intellectual and physical development of students. He also said the Ministry of Disaster Management and Relief will renovate playing fields to prepare for the tournament, with funding to be allocated from the Ministry's annual ADP. Speaking at the meeting, Information and Broadcasting Minister Zahiruddin Shapon said the government would provide all necessary support to ensure the successful organization of the Prime Minister's Gold Cup. The meeting was attended by Disaster Management and Relief Minister Asadul Habib Dulu, Prime Minister's Office spokesperson and advisor to the Ministry for Education and the Ministry of Primary and Mass Education Mahdi Amin, State Minister for Youth and Sports Muhammad Aminul Haq, State Minister for Textile and Jute Muhammad Shariful Alam, State Minister for Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperatives Mir Shahi Alam, Education Secretary Abdul Khalik and other senior government officials were also present. Testimony was recorded against former military officer Ziaul Hassan in a case involving the alleged enforced disappearances and killing of more than 100 people during the previous fascist regime. The proceedings began this morning at International Crimes Tribunal 1. In today's hearing, the defense cross-examined retired Brigadier General Munirul Islam, a prosecution witness in the case. The same tribunal scheduled the next hearing for October 5 in the case against 4 accused, including former Member of Parliament Qazi Munirul Islam Monu, over the killing of 17 people in Jatrabadi on July 18 and 20 during the July mass uprising. Later, the tribunal is also scheduled to hear testimony in a crimes against humanity case concerning allegations of enforced disappearances and torture at the Task Force for Interrogation TFI cell operated by the RAB during the Awami League government's tenure. Meanwhile, testimony was also recorded against 4 accused, including former MP Abul Hasnat Abdullah, in the case over the alleged extrajudicial killing of 2 people, including a Jatiyatwadi Chhatradol leader, in a reported crossfire incident in Borishal during the rule of the ousted Awami League government. The Tribunal 2 Police Sub-Inspector Kamrul Hussain, a witness to the seizure list, testified in the case today. The High Court issued a rule on a writ petition seeking compensation for the victims of the 2025 milestone school aircraft crash. The petition seeks 5 crore taka for each of the 36 people killed and 1 crore taka for each injured person and full payment of their medical expenses. The bench of Justice Fahmida Kadir and Justice Asif Ahmed accepted the rule for hearing today, said the petitioner's lawyer Mohammad Anisur Rahman Raihan. Anisur Rahman Raihan said he filed a public interest writ petition last year At that time, the court issued a rule and asked the respondents to submit their replies. The lawyer said the main writ petition has now been fully prepared. It was brought to the attention of the High Court bench and included as item number 14 on the court's cause list for hearing. A new higher education institution, the Army International Islamic Institute, has been officially launched in the Jolshiri housing area in Dhaka today. Army Chief General Waqaruzzman inaugurated the institute. He also opened the foundation stones of International Islamic Institute's new branches in Borishal, Savar, Bogura, Sylhet, Chattogram, Kumilla and Jashore through video conference. The Army Chief said the Cambridge curriculum-based institution aims to develop students into responsible citizens by combining modern and Islamic education. He also expressed hope that it would become a quality education center by integrating moral education with modern technology. Senior Army officers as well as military and civilian guests attended the program. And now international